Hey, I'm Ryan Loco, professional sports photographer. I've shot everything from bull riding, basketball, football, hockey, MMA, pro wrestling, you name it, I've shot it. And I've been with PFL since the beginning. So I'm bringing you in focus into what fight night looks like, as well as my life behind the lens. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the challenges of shooting combat sports. Now, before a fight, I love to capture those quiet moments. You know, the fighter getting their hands taped with their team, maybe they're just sitting there in meditation. And what happens is a lot of the times, each arena has their own setup. So sometimes I'll be stuck with very small locker rooms. Other times I'll have it where locker rooms are literally spread out over 3 to 4 different floors. So I'm running up and down stairs just to get the shots that I hope to capture. You know though, at the end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal, and it's something that I've dealt with in arenas all over the country, so we make it work. Along the same lines as the locker room, I'm sort of at the mercy of the venue as to how the walk-in's gonna look. Sometimes I have to get behind the fighter, so that way I can shoot this big, wide shot of them walking in with the arena. And then other times, I have to be far away shooting with a long lens so I can get them walking in with their coaches, and then I have like the smoke and the lights of the arena. Really, it just depends on the situation. And again, it's one of those things where you've been doing this long enough, you always adapt, you always figure out how we're gonna do it, and we make it work. Now, throughout the years, I've managed to find the perfect lens setup for shooting a fight. Usually, if I'm able to, I'll bring 3 cameras. What I like to do is I like to put a 24-70 on one camera. That's my main camera that I shoot all the action with over the cage. I also have a 70-200. That's for when the action goes to the far side of the cage or they're grappling on the ground, so I can get those real nice close-up shots of all the emotion, the fighter yelling. There's some really cool shots I've gotten of chokes really close up. And then the third camera I like to bring will have a really ultra-wide lens on it. That one I will leave at the cage door. I'll use that one for when they're walking in, when they stop at the steps, sometimes they say a little prayer, and it gives a nice wide shot as they walk in with the crowd behind them and the lights. It really makes the moment feel special. So when the fight starts, I'm actually doing a ton of running around. I like to shoot them as soon as they walk into the cage, sometimes behind them, sometimes I'm inside the cage. Then, as they're doing the introductions, I'm running alongside them, taking photos of them as they're pacing. You know, you have the flag behind them, their cornermen behind them, and at the same time, I'm ducking low because I have to hide from the TV cameras. Then, as soon as the fight starts, I have to run over to my perch, so that way I can be shooting over the top of the cage to be able to capture all the action. Now, the issue with that is I am stuck in one spot for the entire fight, so I'm at the mercy of the fighters. If it's a ground fight in the corner, there's really not much I can do. I have to bust out the long lens and hope that I capture a couple good images. Sometimes the fight will start and there'll be crazy action right at the beginning and I won't have the proper lens. But luckily, I've started to learn the tendencies of our fighters. Like for me, I know, Chris Wade fight, it's gonna start crazy. I need to have a wide lens, otherwise I'm gonna miss his flying knee, I'm gonna miss his flying karate kick, I'm gonna miss something if I don't have that camera ready to rock and roll. Going into fight night, these are the types of images that I have to capture in order for me to feel like I've had a successful evening. The backstage shot. As you can see here, solitude, quiet moments, you know, those minutes right before they enter the cage. I love to capture these images. I love to show what the fighter's going through before you see them on national TV. These are the quiet moments that not a lot of people get to see. My mission before the fight is to make sure I capture every fighter backstage so that they each have a moment like this. Another shot I like to get is from up above to show the whole arena. I like to show the scale of the event. You can see all the fans, you can see the fighters in the ring, the camera crew, the lights. It really gives a full perspective of the evening at hand. You know, now that I look at it, it's actually kind of wild to think about. For 2021, we're gonna actually have a completely different venue. So now I sort of have to adapt and figure out how am I gonna be able to take these wide shots to show off the arena at the same time in a completely new environment. So this is that type of shot that I mentioned earlier and why I bring that third body. So I have the extra wide lens, so I'm able to capture shots like this as the fighter's about to enter the cage. It's that special moment, you know, that brief few seconds right before they enter the cage for battle. You know, I know that they're in an arena full of screaming fans, but I guarantee to them it's absolute silence. Now a shot like this is why I need to run from the stairs of the cage into the cage so I can capture moments like this. The stare down. A lot of the times the stare downs are pretty basic, you know, one fighter looking at the other. But sometimes you capture a moment like this. You know, if I wasn't prepared and I didn't have multiple cameras on me, there'd be a chance that I wouldn't be wide enough to even get these two guys in frame. Now the benefit of shooting over the cage on my perch is that I have an absolute clear view. There's no cage that I have to shoot through. So it allows me to capture action shots like this. And this right here is the type of shot that I'm trying to capture. The impact right there on his head. It's the bread and butter shot. It's the one that goes out to all the media. Everyone can see it 5 seconds after the fight's over. So when the fighters get this close to me, it almost feels like they're fighting just for me. Like I can hear every sound. I can actually hear sometimes the fighters talking to each other as they're hitting each other. It's pretty crazy. This is an example of the angle that only I'm going to be able to capture from up there on the perch. Now another benefit I have from being with the PFL since its inception is that I've formed a relationship with all the fighters. So sometimes they even look for me after a fight. Like right here with this image, David Mashad looks right at me, points his fist out so I can capture the shot. But now speaking to that same point, since I have a relationship with all these fighters, this is the difficult part. I have a responsibility to show both the winners and the losers, the highs and the lows. So sometimes I have to capture images right after the fight of someone I know who has just lost. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Get ready. Listen. What you wanna do? If you don't strike first, that's when they gon' come at you. Yeah. And you know it's true. Don't let your life get worse. Being timid, that ain't cool. Nah.